Still in Parliament, the minority is threatening the Defence Minister Dominic Nittiwul with a vote of censure over what they say is military intimidation of prospective voters in NDC strongholds. Ranking member on the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament, James Agalga, says there's more than enough evidence to back their claims that the military is being used as a political tool. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is in Parliament for us, and he's standing by with Mr. Agalga. Joseph, what are we learning so far? Right, Joseph, what are we learning so far? And for the sake of our viewers who don't know, what is a vote of censure?
Begin with a general reaction from Mr. Agalga to the comments also put out earlier today by the Minister for... Well, Mr. James Agalga, the ranking member on Parliament Committee on Defence and Interior, has been addressing a media briefing here in Parliament to respond to the issues that were raised by the Minister for Defence, Dominic Nittiwul, and his insistence that he would want to see evidence of the claims of intimidation as had been leveled. We will get into details on what Mr. Agalga said about the chances of a vote of censure of a sort on the defense minister, following what he says is abundant evidence that the military is being used as a political tool. But let's get a quick comment from him. What's your general reaction to the demand for evidence by the Minister for Defense that Dominic Nittiwul, insisting that there is no case of intimidation happening as far as the registration processes are concerned in the various parts of the country?
No, the demand for evidence, even in the face of pictorial evidence, and this is, the media is awash with the evidence I'm talking about, it's most regrettable. You will see the pictures clearly which depicts soldiers dressed in combat gear with armored vehicles, right, preventing Ghanaians from crossing over to a registration center to register. And you say that is not intimidation? You see the General Secretary of the NDC, Asiodun Ketia, in an open confrontation with the soldiers. I have the pictures here. You see the pictures for yourself.
We've seen those videos.
In the face of the evidence we have, and this is too common to find, if you ask that evidence be provided again, I think it's most unfortunate. Look,
we sought answers to that from Mr. Nittiwul, and he says the military was only enforcing a directive that had come from the Bono Regional Security Council that no one engages in the busing of people to registration centers, and that this is what they were doing, and the military were only ensuring that the RegSec directive was enforced to the latter. What do you say to such a reaction? Look,
I've made the point, and I'll repeat myself, that RegSec is not a law unto itself. RegSec cannot take a decision that contradicts the Constitution. Or RegSec cannot take a decision which seeks to undermine the fundamental rights of citizens. And what's the nature of the decision RegSec reached? That nobody should engage in the busing of Ghanaians to go to the registration centers to perform their civic obligations by getting their names onto the voters' roll. Look, why? The circumstances the people around the Banda area find themselves is compelling enough for them to look for buses and commute between where they live, their settlements, and the nearest registration center. I have been reliably informed that these are people who were displaced as a result of the construction of the Bui hydro power project. So they have to relocate to very remote areas in the Banda traditional area of the Bono region. And I'm told that the nearest registration center in most cases is up to 20 miles, 14 miles. So you expect the people to travel by foot or ride donkeys to the registration center. They would definitely have to find buses and commute to the nearest registration center.
Does he have to political parties organizing these buses for them?
Why, even if political parties were to facilitate this, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
So for you, this directive is out of...
The EC ought to have made provision for these people to register wherever they are in their new settlements. But the failure on the part of the EC to ensure that registration centers were created in the new settlements that sprang up as a result of the construction of the Bui Dam, you don't think there's something wrong with that? And when we make the case that these were part of the deliberate schemes to disenfranchise people who are perceived to be Voltarians living in the Banda region, people say, oh, no, we are rabble rousers. But the evidence is now clear. Why did those soldiers mount roadblocks to prevent those people who are Ghanaians? Nobody has denied that they are not Ghanaian. In fact, in times past, these people were attacked just before the commencement of the registration exercise. They were attacked, brutally attacked. And those who carried out the attack are still roaming free because of their ethnicity. They are Voltarians. They were told in plain language that they should go to the Volta region and register. They wouldn't allow them to register in the Banda area. But you see, these are dangerous times. And everybody should be worried about these developments. These people you are talking about have resided in that area in the early 1900s. In fact, they have representation on the Banda Traditional Council. Okay, so they have integrated so well, seamlessly with the Banda people. They have intermarried over the period. And so if you now go in there to play on the ethnic card and say these people cannot register because of their ethnicity, are you not pushing us into a situation where you have challenges that you wouldn't be able to resolve?
I'll delve into the larger subjects of intimidation a while, but if the situation in the Banda area is so terrible that busing needs to be done, why did the NDC candidate, who is also the first deputy minority whip, Ibrahim Ahmed, sign onto the said agreement that was signed with RECSEC, from what the defense minister tells us, alongside the NPP candidate Joe Dankwa, that everyone pulls brake on the busing of people to the various centers? Because that's the claim Dominic Nitiwul is making, that your candidate actually signed on to that. First of all,
did you ask Honorable Dominic Nitiwul to furnish you with evidence which shows that it is the NDC candidate who decided to bus those people from their settlements to go and register? Did he furnish you with the evidence?
In one of the cases, allegedly, your general secretary was even leading the process.
The general secretary went there to monitor the exercise and to encourage Ghanaians who have attained the age of majority, 18 and above, and are of sound mind, to go and register.
In one of the videos, he was specifically, raising questions about how the military was stopping one of the buses.
Why not?
That was actually...
Why not? Why not? And who says that people are not capable of hiring buses on their own to commute from the remote areas their new settlements have sprung up to the nearest registration center and register? Has anybody furnished you with evidence to show that the people did not on their own hide those buses?
So you're insisting that's what happened, that the NDC, your general secretary, your candidate is not responsible for the said case of busing in defiance of the RECSEC director, that the people were doing it on their own?
The rule is evidence, and that rule has been propounded by the minister. And so I would subject him to the same test. He should furnish us with the evidence which shows that those people you see in the videos were bussed by the NDC candidate. All the general secretary went there to do was to get people to go and register, perform their civic duties as citizens. What's wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with that? Look, in this exercise, we have even seen MPP, National Youth Organizer, right, move with his followers to senior high schools in clear breach of the what was the name of COVID-19 protocols?
Let's run up on this bit.
So if General Mosquito goes there to get people out to register, it doesn't mean he's bashed anybody. I'm saying that the people have every right to travel to the nearest registration centers and buses. The RECSEC is not a law unto itself, right? which can take it upon itself to forbid people from boarding buses to the nearest registration center to register.
Very well. So
they don't have that power.
So as the people's representative, in the light of these concerns you're raising with the work that the armed forces is doing, and possibly the role of the defense minister, what action do you intend taking here in Parliament?
What is the role of the defense minister apart from trying to justify what is unjustifiable? He spoke to the media and asked that President Mahama should rather be the one to furnish them with evidence. We are simply saying that the evidence is there. You find the evidence. I mean, you can go to the social media is awash with the evidence. You don't even need to be furnished with the evidence in order to act. So we expect him to act rather than say President Mahama should furnish him with it. In any case, if he wants, I can furnish him with the evidence. I have it on my phone. I can furnish him with the evidence on behalf of President Mahama. So we expect them to act. If they don't act, we have every right under the standing orders to censure them, to have them censured. We've made the point. So we expect him to investigate all those involved who have acted unlawfully, whether they are acting on the instructions of RECSEC or not. We're saying that RECSEC is not a law unto itself. Whoever sat at that RECSEC and took those illegal decisions should be held accountable.
And if the minister doesn't do that?
Well, of course, we've said he is a member of parliament, he's a minister of state, he can be censured. But those members of RECSEC were calling on the president. It's so shocking that the president would say he's unaware of harassment and intimidation at registration centers when a minister, a cabinet minister under his watch, fired warning shots at a registration center. What did the minister achieve? People took to their heels, including the EC officials. Tell me if that is not intimidation and harassment.
The president was not being honest with Ghanaians.
Absolutely, he was not being honest with Ghanaians. He has failed us. He has failed to provide security at the various registration centers. This is the same president whose security agents arrested some political actors when they sounded the alarm bells that the registration exercise was going to be characterized by violent scenes. You see, they have been vindicated. They've been vindicated now. You have a president who is so pretentious to the extent that you come back and tell us that he is unaware. But Ghanaians are aware, and we only show him the exit in December because he's not on top of the issues. He's not.
And if that happens, what will happen to the armed forces itself? We've had some of your party people threatening in the past that they would deal with security agents and all hand power changes hands.
Well,
in the light of these, what you call increased intimidation, yes, is that a position you would endorse? Is that what you guys may do to
as a party,
armed forces?
The NDC as a party has not got any mechanism of dealing with soldiers or police officers who breach their own regulations. There are regulations. For instance, you take the armed forces regulations, the police service regulations on discipline. So those rules, properly speaking, should be invoked at the appropriate. Now you don't have the will, but the rules are there.
So when NDC gets to power, then you allow or cause the invocation of those rules.
Of course, if anybody breaches the rules, the regulations of the service you belong to, that is what must happen.
Very well.
The superior officers are supposed, without anybody's prompting, to subject you to the full rigors of the regulations.
Very well. Many thanks for joining us there. James Agalga is the ranking member on Parliament's Committee on Defense and Interior. He's also the NDC MP for Busa North, speaking to us there. Daniel, back to you.
Thank you very much.